Hi and welcome back to another video of jPlay. I am Marcus and today I'll walk you through a couple of rounds of Rainer Knizia's Mille Fiori, published by Spiele, that is. And I already set up the game board here for a 3-player game. Setup is really nice. But there is already one of the, let's say, little problems with this game. This game comes with currently two set of rules. There's an online version, then there is the printed version. It seems that the printed version is the most current one up to date. But after checking out the Geek and with some of the responses, and thank you Laszlo for checking with Spiele, it seems even the printed version are not entirely correct, and that's mainly in respect to the cards that are available here in this common area. For a 3-player game, you put out 4 cards. For a 2 or 4-player game, I believe it's 9. And unfortunately, this game is not really a great 2-player kind of game. It's definitely very enjoyable with 3 or 4 players. But yeah, maybe a little bit bland. You need the player interaction here. But again, coming back to the, let's say, somewhat inconsistent rule sets here. In the printed version of the rules, you're adding additional cards at the start of the round. This seems to be not the case. On the other hand, the online version of the rules, they are not speaking about the initial set of 4 cards here. So yeah, it's a little bit inconsistent. Not really sure what happened there. But I do hope we will see an errata or an updated set of rules sooner or later, which is then dealing with this kind of situation. It's not really that big of a deal. You can play it either way. It doesn't change the game too much. On the other hand, if you are playing with the printed version of the rules, you may end up with way too many cards here in the public area, which was the only thing which actually, when I first played the game, and also the second time and so on, we said, okay, that's too many cards there. You have too much to choose from. That's not good. You want tight selections here. And that's exactly what basically this Zebra version of the online and the printed versions are doing. These cards can run out this way, and then there is something that's even not mentioned here. If you're running out of these cards, apparently you get 5 extra victory points. Again, nowhere mentioned here as far as I understood. So there's another little unclarity, but that's really only unclarity, but something I will try to explain a little bit later. But the overall idea of this walkthrough here is to familiarize yourself with the look and feel. Anything else, again, take it with a pinch of salt. Some of the rules I simply may have misunderstood, but they're really tiny little pieces in the end. And yeah, I think with that being said, we should be able to dive into the game. I have set it up for a 3-player game because I think that's really the minimum amount of players you need in order to fully enjoy this game. And yeah, we have the purple, orange and red player depicted by these nice little pawns here and also by those nice looking ship miniatures here. It's really all about glass making, this game. So it's in Venice, it's in the islands of Murano. Of course, they couldn't name it Murano, that's why it's Mille Fiori. But yeah, it's all about glass making, but that's pretty much all there is you need to know about the theme of the game. It's a Rainer Knizia game after all. Anyway, the presentation in this game, it's really, really nice to look at. Almost reminds me a little bit of Azul. These are the player pieces here, by the way, but you will see those. But I think Azul may have a tiny little bit of a lead here in respect to the stone quality. And yeah, again, with that being said, let's get right into the game. Purple player is first in this case, which is shown with a Doge card here. And these are the player pieces for the purple player. That's the hand or the starting hand of the purple players. So all the players will start each round with 5 of those cards. And in theory, it's an indeterminate number of rounds. But I think usually you play between 5, 6, maybe 7 rounds maximum. No, I think actually 6 could be the maximum now with this new set of rules. But yeah, that's what it is. But again, that's the starting hand depicting right now only 2 different kind of actions. And I did shuffle this deck particularly well, actually. And the way how this works in the standard mode of the game, each player is choosing a card, basically playing that face down. They will do that simultaneously play them up, and will put the rest of those cards in front of the next player, that is. So it's really a drafting kind of game. There is an official variant in the rulebooks which basically says that you only get to choose your card once you have seen what the player before you. So let's say the second player can wait for the card of the first player until they make their choice, which is way more tactical, but also will, yeah, I think lengthen the game tiny little bit. It doesn't make a lot of difference here actually, and I personally think it's the better way to enjoy this game. But again, the standard mode is that all of the players will choose their card for this round simultaneously and will draft the rest of the cards in a clockwise fashion. I will do that counterclockwise because of recording purposes. And yeah, looking at those cards, this is a nice one, this could be a nice one, but I think we will simply start with this card here. So this is the card for the purple player. The rest of the cards will go down to the orange player. Orange will also play their card and will move the remaining cards to the red player, who is also going to play his card, and again will pass the remaining 4 cards back to the starting player. And then, starting with the starting player, they are going to reveal their cards. The starting player has chosen the workshop area of the game board, so you can look at the icons, but you can also look at the colors. And in this case, this card is all around this beige area up here. The way how this works now is we are basically looking at the icons. So the purple player has to choose one of their stones. In theory, they could also do something else with this card, but let's go for the standard option for this card. So the purple player can now choose to place one of their stones to one of the matching areas here on the workshop area. So with this, he could not go for this one here, for example. He has to go for this fire symbol up here. And yeah, looking at stuff, I think he's going to place it on this space. Don't ask me why, just feeling like it. And you are immediately scoring the points, and you're always scoring your group that you are extending, basically with a new placement here. It's a new group in this case, so purple will score simply 1 point with that. If that would have been a second token next to it of the same color, then for this new action tile, for this new tile, purple would score 2 points and so on. But that's what already the action of the purple player. This card is simply getting discarded. Next, it's orange. They have chosen, oops, this card here. And that's basically all about the personality in Venice. So we have to take this card now, moving it over the turquoise space here. And in theory, orange can now place one of their tokens in any of the bottom rows, because this is kind of a pyramid in this case. So before moving into the next level here, both of those spaces need to be occupied already. Doesn't matter which player occupied them, but you cannot simply start placing a token here. But you don't have to make it fit. So in the end, orange could choose to go it here on this coin symbol here, but there's a reason to go for the like or for the same symbol in this case, because you simply score double amount of points. Normally in the bottom row you would score 1 point because it's the matching symbol from this card. The orange player is scoring 2 points instead. And yes, before you ask, it's a very, very high scoring game, but that's already the end of the orange player's turn. This card gets discarded, moving over to red. And I already forgot what they played. Oh, it's basically the same thing. That's very interesting. So they're also going to the very same district. So they have a choice if they want to basically build the foundation for the next level. They could put it here, but then they would miss out a point, or they could simply start, let's call it new pyramid over there. And yeah, because they don't really know what's around, because again, it's a drafting kind of game. The very first 1 or 2 turns, you don't really know what is out there. I think red wants to play it somewhat careful and will also just play it here. Maybe I should play it here just to show you this. No, let's do it here. Normally I wouldn't do that, I guess, without knowing the cards which are out there, but in this case let's do it like this so I can show you what it's like to build the next level. In this case, the red player will also score 2 points because they also played the matching symbol here. accordingly. Card is getting this card, and then we are moving into the next turn basically. And those are the cards of the purple player now that has been passed over to them by the red player. And yeah, this is definitely nice. Those two keys, this is the housing area of Murano, is also nice, but I think in this case, yeah, that makes sense. So purple is going to play this card. Those cards will move over to the orange player. Orange is playing this card, handing over those cards to the red player. And I guess red is going to play this card again, handing over those cards back to the purple player. Purple has to reveal their card first, and you can already see, if you can wait before you choose your card, what the other players have done before you, it definitely changes the game quite a bit, makes it really way more tactical. But this is also just fine. Let's see what purple played. I think we know that, right? So for you that's only 2 seconds or so, for me it's a minute. Between all those editings and whatnot. Exactly, we were going to this, I think it's a I don't know what the English word for that is. Doesn't really matter too much, but that is a special space on the board for those workshop areas up here, because you see this little stars here. This means normally if you are extending your group, you only get basically 2 points. Because it's a special zone and you have more of those here, you are doubling these. So in total, the purple player will score 4 points now instead of 2. And that's basically one of the questions that's still kind of unanswered, if this is also extending a group, or if this needs to be basically border to border, or if one of those edges here is sufficient. There is a video, a German video out there from Hunter and Friends, where I think the editor shows this, and the example he does there really tells you that this is also extending the area here. That's how I played. I may misunderstood it, but that's again how we understood it, how we played it. And again, it's not that big of a deal in the end. I could still have played, for example, this fire one here. But in this case, purple will score for more points, bringing them up to 5. So that's definitely not too bad. This card is getting discarded over to orange. So let's see what orange played. Yeah, they had the same card actually, which doesn't really help them quite a lot. They will still score 2 points for that, because it's still getting doubled, but yeah, definitely not the best card out there. But also wanted to make sure not all of those will go to the, I don't know, purple player. And this is what you have to do in this game. You have to interact with the other players. You have to make sure they're not getting all the sweet spots, which in this case I believe orange has to place it here. So that purple, in case they get another one of those doublets, they cannot immediately place it up there. So for that, orange will score 2 more points. I will kind of do that off camera here. The card again is getting discarded, moving over to the red player, who were quite lucky in the end, because they got the next card in that pyramid, which I just showed you. And now they have to make a very interesting decision. They could play it here to a matching zone, which gives them 2 points. On the other hand, this is now unlocked because the foundation is there in this case. So they could place it here. In this case, again, in this area, you don't have to match the icons. You would gain double the amount of points, but still red would gain 3 points instead of the 2 points here. And before handing it over to someone else, I think that's still the better deal for the red player. So again, red will score 3 more points for that. And that's again the end of the turn. Let's move back to purple. These are the cards that red passed over to them. And yeah, maybe I should pay more attention. And you see that. So in theory, purple could now go for another duplicate space, but in this case there is something more interesting to do. So I think we are going to play this card. Those 2 cards go back to the orange player. I think orange is going to play this card here, passing those cards to the red player. And red has to play this card, in fact, again passing over those cards to the purple player. Okay, purple is revealing their card, and you hear a not so silent curse from the orange player with this card being revealed, as purple will definitely place their token onto this space. So that's another group of 3 in this case, scoring them 1, 2, 3 points. But they also have enclosed this space here. Whenever you see this symbol doing something, this means you get a bonus action. This is where the public offering comes into the picture. So the purple player can now choose one of those cards and immediately play them, basically giving them an extra turn this round. This is interesting, but not quite interesting enough. Maybe either of those two could help them, or those 2 fishes, bringing them to another one. Yeah, actually, I think I will go for this one here, which is the trade section of the game board here. And here we have to put it into or onto a matching space in this case. I think these are these earrings here. And I guess doesn't really matter too much where to place it right now, because they're all available. And the way how these, so let's place it just here. And the way how this scoring works is you look how valuable those items are, and you evaluate that by looking how many of the same trade goods are out there. It's the first one, so in this case purple will simply score 1 extra point for that, and then we are discarding this card. But this can get more important later on when we're doing the shipping action down here, which we haven't seen yet, but I'm relatively certain that we will see that. But coming back to orange, oh, this was the bonus action of the purple player, by the way. But orange had the exact same idea here, using the extra space up there to score some extra points. Unfortunately, this is exactly what the purple player did. So this space is taken. That's why he was cursing so loud. So in this case, what is orange going to do with that? And that's maybe a good time now to come to the alternative things that you can do with the card. There's only one thing actually, and that's basically using this number here in this steering wheel, which instead allows you to move your ship ahead, and exactly the amount of points that are printed here. So in this case, orange could instead move the ship 1 space further, therefore they would score 1 point for that. If that would have been a 4, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, that would have been quite nice for 3 points. But in this case, I don't. That's interesting. That's an interesting decision they can make. I think in this case, yeah, let's simply discard it. Let's start moving our ship ahead. In this case, again, the orange player will score 1 point, but this card is now out of the game for good. And there is a card for every space out there on the game board. And again, when you're discarding cards like this, then one of these spaces will definitely be unavailable. It's very unlikely that you're filling all the spaces, by the way. But anyway, let's award the orange player with 1 extra point. So there's at 5 points too. Let's discard this card, and then we are moving over to the red player, who actually had to play the shipping card here. So let's move back to the area we were before, because first of all, you have to place a ship into one of those spaces here. You get to choose where to place them, but it's important that one row, that's pretty much a shipping fleet. You only will score points for your ship once a fleet is complete with either whatever 3 red or 1 red, 2 orange, you name it, can be any constellation. But you also want to make sure that there are goods available to ship from. So in this case, red is seeing, hey, purple placed a resource there, so I think let's start forming a trade fleet over here. Again, right now they are not scoring any points, but again, if we see more resources showing up here or more trade goods here, we can score a lot of points. But you also want to make sure that you have maybe 2 ships in a fleet, because for every ship you will get then the amount of points depending on how many goods there are available. In this case, each of those stones will be worth 1 point, but let's say later on red would place another cube here, so this would be 2 different goods. in this, let's call it shipping order here, they would score 3 points for each ship that here, and that's 6 and 10 points. So this can really give you a hell of a lot of points. But before we close it off, for the shipping action, we do immediately get 2 more spaces here on the shipping track for red. It's 1, 2. The red will also score a point for that. And again, that's only pretty much allowed with this shipping action here. For all of the other cards, you have to make a call if you want to use it, either for its normal action, so placing one of your stones, or for using the number here to move it. In this case, yeah, they can simply use it. Of course, they could also say, I don't want to place a ship anywhere, for example. For whatever reason, I can still discard this card for just the 2 movement points here. But in most cases, you want to place your stones out there. Then it's back to the purple player. They don't really have a lot of choices, but in this case, they have a slight choice at least, and maybe that's a little bit stupid again from the red player. I think they shouldn't have handed over this card to the red player, because from a starting position with a 4, that's really insanely good. But in this case for purple, that's pretty obvious they're going to play that card, and instead of moving or giving the card to the next player, these cards, leftover cards from a 3 or 4 player game, are placed directly into the public area here. So this is where this common area is getting more and more cards. But again, I think there are ways that this can run out actually. Over to orange. They have to play this card here. This card is getting into the public area. Also insanely good choice here, but yeah, orange wasn't very lucky in respect to the cards they got, and that's really again why I prefer the the more serialized drafting mechanics. So you get to choose after you have seen what your other players have done before. Okay, of course, the starting player has to start the round, but the starting player is also moving. But yeah, I think I really like that variant much better. And then it's the last card for the red player, and they're simply playing this card. This card goes back to the public offering up there, and then again the purple player is revealing their card first. But in this case, this was an extremely powerful card for the purple player at this point in time. There for sure will place a ship out there. I think we are putting it into the fleet that already has been prepared. So again, both of the players will now score 1 point. If that stays this way, of course, they could still wait and bring out more goods before the fleet is sailing here. And this is where, for example, the orange player could choose, hey, I don't want to give you more stuff here. I will place my next stone in here. So this fleet is sailing, and then we all just gain 1 point. If they wait until more resources are showing up here, or more goods are showing up here, and maybe whatever red or purple is placing another there, then they definitely would lose out here. And this is what this game is all about. But okay, that was the ship we placed, and we are moving our ship 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces ahead, and that's 3 more points for the purple player, moving them to 1 to 12 points in total. Nicely done. Over to orange, who again is not particularly happy with the life choices. So let's reveal the cards over here. And they both don't really help you. Of course, they could discard it for 1 point, but I think he can get 2 points out of this card when placing it or playing it normally. So I guess in this case, just do that, but that's really not great. So I guess in this case, let's place it over here. You don't have to put out consecutive groups or so. In this case, they can't anyway, but therefore orange will score 2 more points for that, and then we are discarding this card. Last card for the red player this round, and we finally see the housing action here for the first time. Does the 5 help us in any way? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, okay. No, it's the red player. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's still interesting. Let's not go too crazy with that. Let's play this card as is. So you basically see the last action of the game, or the last option that there is right now, and we are placing this here. This will simply be a consecutive row, so whatever you place your stone next to the other stone, and in this case the red player will simply score 2 points for that. In case you are forming groups, you will also score the points for the stones that were laid before. Let's say with their next action, they would place a stone in here. They would gain the 4 points plus 2 points and so on. And I also didn't really tell you about those bonus scoring opportunities here. They all have these kind of things, and in this case you want to have 4 different numbers covered. They don't have to be in a consecutive group, but let's say red would have 2, 4, 3 and 5, for example. It would be an awful lot of points, by the way, but because that's 4 different numbers they would have scored, they would be allowed to place their marker in here, and then they would immediately score 20 extra points. That's quite insane, but again, that's what this game is about, and I may have mentioned it's a really high scoring game. But that's pretty much the end of the round. This card is getting discarded. We are preparing for the next round, which means the starting player card moves over to the orange player. All of the players will get 5 more cards, and then yeah, we are moving into the next round. Okay, all but purple have chosen their card. Again, I want to show you the cards of the purple player, and here is this nice swan, which could make the fleet quite powerful actually, and that's, I think that's tempting. That's really tempting. So yeah, let's go for it. Again, those cards go to the orange player. Orange will be first now, so let's see what they played. And that's now really, you hear some very loud curses coming from the red player actually. And yeah, orange will totally place their stone here onto the housing area. First of all, they will break the chain here. So of course red could go there again, but then again, this group is being interrupted. But because it's a 4 slot, it means orange will also score 1, 2, 3, 4 points for that. And also preparing for those bonuses. Again, all the other spaces have bonuses here. The same is true for the workshop area. So if you place your stones on 4 different kind of resource and you do that first, then you would be allowed to go score 20 points and 50 points and 10 points in a 3-player game. Of course, you can only ever claim each of those bonus points once per area. That is. And then it is the red player who's going to reveal their card. It's this nice little, I don't know, what is it, a flask? I don't know, crystal one. But they also want to make this fleet here more valuable. Of course, if now purple has the ship on their hand, he would place something in there for the purple player. On the other hand, yeah, you have to take some risks in this case. So let's place it here. It has to go to basically the matching space, but on the other hand, red could also say, nah, that's too risky for me. I will place it up here, for example, preparing for the next fleet. But just to show you and just for the laughs, let's say red is going to place it here. Again, you will assess the value of those trade goods here. It's the first in its column, which means red will only score 1 point for that. So the next player to go there in the same column will then score 2 points, but also the red player will score again, which is shown by this symbol in here. And actually, I already messed something up, folks. So let's correct that, because when the red player placed their thing here on the second level, you are still assessing the rows beneath it. That again, it's that what this symbol is showing, which means all the players could potentially score some points. So in this case, red would have scored the 3 points here. I have taken care of it, but then you assess everything below it, basically in the same pyramid, which means this is another point for the red player, because again, it's on this row here. So let's correct that here. But also orange would have gained a point for that, and that's really what I like about this game, that there is a lot of these, hey, I have to play that, it comes with some trade-offs, but I have to live with that. So I have corrected that. That's a good piece. But in respect to the new card that we just played, we should be okay. I have awarded the red player with this 1 single point here. Then last but not least, it's the purple player who basically has the same interesting decision to make right now. Yeah, let's think about it. On the other hand, it's a 2. And I think in this case, purple is discarding this card and will move their ship 2 spaces ahead, which would give them an immediate victory point bump of 10 points, which is not nothing, but at least those points were for him alone. That's 5 and that's 10, 22 points already. And that's something that happens, so that you see a player is going into the lead relatively soon, but we also felt that you can typically catch up. Of course, if you're not paying attention, let's say you let someone take all those things consecutively, then you are definitely in a bad shape. And at some point in time, one of the players has to stop the other player who is really going way too crazy on this thing. And that's really a nice balancing act. We're saying, okay, I can do something for me right now, or I can try to, I don't know, somewhat hinder my opponent here for getting too many points out there. Really like that a lot. And it's not too punishing, so it's not really a very aggressive kind of game, but every now and then you have to say, okay, I have to play this now here in order to stop you. It's for me really the right amount of, let's call it, not really a take that, but in respect to player interaction. Let's move into the next turn. Orange and red will choose their cards. So here are already the cards from the red player that have been passed over to the purple player, that is. And I think in this case, I think this is quite tasty actually. So yeah, purple is going to play, those cards, those are being passed over to orange. Orange has to reveal first, and in this case, in this normal mode of the game, it can be good or bad either way actually. But yeah, for sure they're going to go to the housing area again, which means orange is scoring 1, 2, 3 points plus 4 points here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, also at 19 points already. And again, if orange goes here again, that's 5 points plus 7 points. That's 12 points in total. And that's really something where you have to make sure, oh boy, I have to stop you here. And it's also 5 points. I mean, whoever goes here, 5 points is definitely nothing to sneeze at. Over to red. Again, already forgot what they have chosen. Yeah, I think they also wanted to go out to the workshop area. And I think in this case they also want to, yeah, I think purple is now in the lead. And right now red is not out here already, so I think in this case it doesn't really hurt to try to stop purple here, who is cursing like crazy at the other hand of the table, by the way. Therefore red will score only 1 measly point, but again, you have to be there. I think missing out on, I think especially up here, could be a bad idea actually. But that's already the action of the red player moving over to purple. And yeah, you guessed it right, they also played this one here. So again, they could make a case now moving 5 more spaces down here, so basically discarding this card, but I don't think that this is the best they can do actually. Yeah, no, let's simply use it for what it is. The question is, where do we want to place it? Do we want it here? Does it make sense here? Messing with, I mean, orange is basically behind. I think that's not a bad idea, because they can still make a connection over here. In this case, purple will only score 1 point for that, but I think that's still okay. If they make a connection here, they could really make 5 more points, which is not bad either. Well, that's pretty much already the end of the turn. Let's choose our cards for this next turn. And here are the cards for the purple player again. They know that they are last, of course. So they know when another player is now playing the key, they will not score the 5 points. On the other hand, I mean, you should know what you have passed over to the other players, and in fact they knew that orange did play a key in there. So I guess in this case, yeah, I think purple will simply go for this. But then okay, they would pass him one of those keys anyway. That's really bad actually. It's really bad. But okay, let's do it anyway. Maybe purple is thinking, let's have red deal with the situation over here. And then yeah, orange is going to reveal their card. And yeah, guess what? It's another key, basically going back to the housing area, which is definitely bad news for everyone else. So they are scoring 5 points plus 7 points. That's 12 points in total. 21, 31 points here in the lead. And because they have also now have 3 different numbers, they are also triggering this one here, which tells the orange player, hey, I get an extra turn. And guess what? Here is something more fancy. Let's go for it right away. Right now, that's only 1 point, 1 additional point, that is. That's 1 plus the 12. That's 13 more points. So 41, 1, 2, and 3, 44 points in total. And now orange has 4 different kind of numbers. And again, they don't have to be in the same group, but in this case, yes, they have made it here already. 4 different numbers, which will score them 20 more points. Quite insane, moving them to 64 points in total. You must be kidding me. But that's pretty much it for the orange player there. They could still score more points up there. And if they happen to get 5 different kind of numbers up there, they would score an addition. They would get an additional action from that. But that's then pretty much it there. But wow, that was a power move from the orange player. Let's move over to red. So let's see what they played. Yes, they wanted to get back to the workshop, but with very, very minimal points, actually. I mean, that's still 2 more points there at 13, whereas orange is at 64. So that's kind of embarrassing. But that's really me, because I'm playing those players here very, very poorly. But maybe prepping for that. So if red goes in here, for example, for their next action, that could be 6 points they would get out of this. And then you can definitely try to catch up. But last but not least for this turn, it's the purple player. And here I still do remember exactly they played this cup here. And again, they could make a call for either of those. He's still believing in the ship. The problem is they know that orange will be before them. So in this case, I mean, if they would have placed it here, purple would get 1 point. Yeah, but if red would play then a ship here, this would be 6 points per ship here. But on the other hand, they know red is really behind. So here again, just to show that to you, we are placing this rhombus in here. Again, it's only 1 point because it's the first good in the same column, so moving it up to 24 points, and that's already the action there. And then we are moving into the last turn of this round. Again, they all have to basically choose a card. And yeah, we know already what's going to happen here with the orange player, actually. So this card goes into the public area. Then it's red, and yeah, I think red is going to play this card and is putting this card into the public area. And last but not least, it's purple, and purple is not particularly happy with either of those, actually. So I think this card goes into the public offering, and we are going to play this card over here. It's really a last resort, basically consolation prize already. Let's reveal the final cards of this round. It's orange first, and now they both know, okay, we should have stopped the orange player for sure. Yes, of course, orange is going to place this stone into the housing area. Again, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 points. 6 points for these two. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 more points here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, moving them to 81 points. But good thing is it's not 5 different kind of numbers, so they're not getting the bonus turn. At least that's at least something. And I think in this case, what do they need actually? Yeah, orange would need the 2 in order to unlock this extra action, but still that was an insane amount of points. So let's discard this card, moving back to the red player. So let's see, yeah, exactly, they were lucky enough to get this card here, which will give them some actual points here. That's normally 3 points because it's a doubler. In this case, they are scoring 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points, moving them up to 19. And then it's the purple player revealing their last card, which is really not great. But yeah, I think they're still playing it for the standard action here. So let's take one of our player stones, and I think, yeah, let's place it here. Again, it's the matching space. And yes, there are 2 pyramids of these persons. tracks here. So we have the lighter green and then the turquoise one up here. So here we have the two fish, but this will score them 2 points because again, it's the matching symbol. That's the end of the round. Starting player Doge card will move over to the red player. And I think I will play one more round just to show you maybe some more scoring, maybe show you the scoring for the ship action, for example, and then yeah, let's see how things go. So I will now set up the round 3 basically. Okay, both red and orange have selected their cards. Again, I want to play this openly for the blue player. Blue has some interesting choices to make now. The key, it's okay, but he's not the first player, but he's before the orange player, so they could say, am I going to end it or basically break the group in the housing area for orange, or will I let that red do? On the other hand, they see, okay, I have the ship here and the ship is really extremely good for me. So I think, yeah, he has to play it for his own. So he's going to play that ship card here. Those cards will go over to the orange player. Red has to reveal their card first. And yeah, he couldn't let orange get away with this. So they're definitely going to place a disc into the housing area. It's really double problematic in this case, but they had to do something because it's only 2 points for red. That's really nothing. In this case, it's also the same number they already have, so it doesn't really help him from any of those 3 things here. But I still think that someone had to stop it, and as they were the first player, I think, yeah, this definitely does make sense. Let's move over to purple. We already did know what they played, which is this ship here, of course. First of all, yes, we are totally completing the fleet. Again, red is cursing like crazy in this case. So we are basically sending this fleet away. So for every stone we have here in our fleet, we are basically getting 6 points because we have 3 different resources in here. So that really doesn't matter from which player those goods have been produced by in the end. So that's 12 points for purple. It's pretty solid actually, moving them up to 38 actually. They were 26. And unfortunately, it's only 6 points for the red player because they only have 1 ship in here. But that's pretty much the end of this fleet. We can still play this in here for whatever reasons. But again, this fleet has sailed, so nothing else will happen. But still, let's award the red player with 6 more points, bringing them to 27. But we are not done yet, as purple is still allowed to move their ship 1 space ahead, and this doesn't give them a point, but you could know this symbol here already. That's an extra action that they can take right away, so let's do that. The question is, what are we going with? Maybe we are going also for a key, or maybe going again for this chalice here. Let's do that actually, because with that we can also basically prepare our next fleet and we will score some extra points, which is now basically 2 points for these stones here. And yeah, you get those points right away for every cube you have in there. Right now he's on his own, the purple player. So that's 2 points here and 2 points here. That's 4 more points for purple. That's definitely not nothing. 1, 2, 3, 4. And by the way, there is also a bonus area here which is being triggered once you have basically filled all of the different resources. They don't have to be in the same row. So in this case, if I don't know, purple would gain another cube in here and another cube in here, that's all the 4 different trade goods here. They would then go for example 20 points if they would be the first to go there. But again, preparing for future turns, that's definitely key. But yeah, it's a timing thing and you have to be a little bit lucky, of course, in respect to how the cards come out. But that's basically the end of their turn. I think orange is up last in this turn. And yeah, they certainly hoped they would get away with this one more time. Apparently they didn't let them, but still, that's okay. That's okay. We are placing a stone there anyway. Yeah, we are doing this, which again is really bad news for the red players. So in this case, orange would only score 1, 2, 3 points, because again, that's basically a new group they are forming there. Okay, let's start the next turn. Again, I will choose the cards for orange and red basically off camera now. Okay, orange and red have made their choices, and I think for purple, yeah, this is awfully tasty now actually. So let's move those cards over to orange. Orange is going to reveal, no, red is going to reveal first actually. So yeah, they really didn't have a great hand of cards actually. So I think in this case red is going to discard this for the 4 up here, which allows them to move their ship 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. That's at least 10 points for them, which they really need. So that's 5 and that's 10 points. That's 37 versus 42 and 84 of the orange player. Ridiculous. Let's discard this card over to purple. And as we know, they really played a very helpful card for them in multiple ways. First of all, they are definitely filling up that group here. So that's 5 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now they do have the 1, 2, 3, 4 different resources out there, which does allow them to place their bonus marker here accordingly. So that's 20 more points for purple. Now we are talking, moving them 57, 67 points in total and 84 with orange. So yes, you see, you can catch up with the other players, but yes, sometimes you really have to work hard for that. Okay, nicely done, red. Last but not least, it's the orange player. Yeah, nobody really stopped them. They're going back to the housing area again. Not an awful lot of points, but still 4 more points in total. 1, 2, 3, 4, moving them up to 88 points. Yeah, what do you say about this? This card is discarded. Let's move into the next turn. Again, they have chosen their cards, and yeah, this would give the purple players some extra points. Yeah, why not? Let's play this card. Those cards go to the orange player. Red is revealing first, and yeah, exactly, they had a very nice card here for them, and yes, they will totally use it to place it up here. Unfortunately, it's not enough to make it to the 15 bonus points, but at least they're getting 4 points for that. 1, 2, 3, 4 to 41, but they're getting a bonus action for that now, because they have surrounded this bonus tile, and it doesn't really matter to which player the other belong. The last player to seal this let's call it mini period off around those extra spaces, that player will get the bonus action. And I think is there something fancy? Maybe there is. I guess we are going for the key again. Yeah, let's go for the key, as this will mess with the orange player and will also give them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more points, moving them to 46 points. And now they have 2 different numbers available already, and yeah, this could give them a bonus action, and then yeah, maybe giving them the 15 points in here, which could be also quite important actually. Let's move over to the purple player. They are placing their stone in here, putting it there, so each of those things is now worth 3 points. So that's 3, 6, 9 points they will score immediately. And again, if one of the other players has stone there, they would also gain some points. But in this case, purple is on his own there. That's really problematic. And yeah, 9 points is really not bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Moving them to 76 points in total. Not too shabby. Last but not least, it's orange. And again, I kind of forgot. No, they had the flame symbol up there, exactly, which is definitely great. Not only will they score 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 more points, but they have also closed this extra action space here, which means they can take a bonus action right away. Unfortunately, they're not all great, but they are okay actually. So I think they're going for this card, allowing them to place a stone in here. We are placing it on the matching space, which gives them 2 extra points, so they're already at 93 points. Doesn't really help them too much here because you want a different kind of personalities in here. So I think we have the cleric, we have the nobility, and I guess the trading guild or so, I don't know. Then you would also score the 20 points, but I still think that's okay. Yeah, let's go for it. And in order to claim the bonus action here, you have to reach the topmost row, by the way. And the topmost row gives you 6 points. And if you're playing the matching symbol, it's even 12 points. So that can be quite huge, actually. Then it's the final turn of this round. So I think red is playing this card and is discarding this card, which doesn't really help them, actually. Purple is definitely going to play this card and is discarding this card. And last but not least, it's orange, who I guess is playing this card. Or let me check again, actually. Yeah, is playing this card and is discarding this one, though there are 2 ships available. Okay, red has to reveal first, or is allowed to reveal first, depends on how you look at it. So let's see. Exactly, they had the perfect card for their last hand, so they're definitely using it to place stuff in here. So in total, that's 5 points. Not bad, not bad, moving them to 51. But now they also have covered up all the different resources, actually, which would give them 15 more points. So I think that's really necessary for red now. So that's 61, 66 points in total. Not too bad. Purple is also going for a very crazy turn. They will place it here. So yes, this is really one group of stuff. So that's 6 because it's this, I don't know what it is. It's the extra space here. That's 12 points for purple. So that's 88 points. Although, wow, he's really catching up. Yellow or orange is only at 93 points. Crazy. But then it is orange and they have to make a call. Do they want to go for the 5 here, or do they want to take place in the shipping fleet later on? This is only 1 point for them if they would place it there. So I think in this case, no, we will use, or we will discard this card for the 5, which will move their ship 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces ahead. And that's 10 more points for them. Amazing. Bringing them to 103 victory points. And there's nothing, there's no 100 marker, so you really have to count it. And that's basically the end of the round. So we would now move into the final round, but I think I will stop here. You should have seen most of what the game has to offer. Yes, a lot of these bonus spaces have been reached, so I think purple may have been on a good track here, but no one really was going for here. It's also a little bit more difficult. Keep in mind, with the card here, purple didn't need to place it here. Purple could have said, no, let's go in here. Maybe that should have been the wiser choice after all. Actually, just to get the 3 different kind of resources or personalities out there, for example, for another 20 points. It's really something in this case. And yeah, the game is basically over when either the deck of card runs out. There is still quite of those. I think we still have, I guess, at least 3 more rounds. I think it's 6 rounds. That's the amount of cards that is available. Or if any one of the players will place their last stone out there on the game board, they would still then do their stuff. There are leftover stones in the box. So in case you get bonus actions with your last placement, you still will be able to use them. But then all the other players will still play their card. And then it's basically the end of the game. And that's pretty much how you play Mille Fiori, which I really do enjoy a lot. Not with 2 players, I must say. It's still okay, it's enjoyable, it's fun, but the game really gets to life when you play it with 3 or 4 players, because you will see a lot more of things blocking each other out and whatnot. Maybe for a 2-player game they could have decided to go with a smaller board or something like that, that would still have worked, or maybe with some kind of a dummy player. I know not everyone likes dummy players, including myself. Sometimes they are well designed, looking at Dune Imperium, for example, which works perfectly well then for a 2-player game. But again, it's really great fun when you play it with 3 or 4 players, that is. Let me know if you would like me to continue my walkthrough. Again, there's nothing exceptionally new that you will be seeing if I continue playing, but just in case you want me to move on, let me know. I will leave the board out here for whatever 1-2 more days. And then I will pack everything together. So leave a comment in case you want to see more. Huge shout out to all of my patrons out there and my channel members. Really do appreciate all your support. You can support my channel by following the link to my page on Patreon. You can join me here on YouTube, like and subscribe, leave a comment, everything helps. And yeah, with that being said, hope to see you soon in one of my other videos. And yeah, until then, bye bye.